Hey, this is Chris Jericho of FOZZY, and you are watching The Live Addiction with Steve O right here coming at you from the House of Blues, Houston. This is going to be one of the greatest nights of your life. I know it is for me.
All right, well, my guest is none other than Chris Jericho from the band FOZZY, who is currently on tour supporting their latest album, Sin and Bones. Chris, thank you for joining me, and congrats on the success of the new album. You're a very busy guy. What are the plans for FOZZY after this Saxon tour is over?
Well, like you said, Sin and Bones came out last August, and we've been on the road pretty much nonstop ever since, with a couple breaks here and there, but it's been over 100 shows in 17 countries now. But the most important thing was we wanted to do some more touring in the States. We've always done a lot of stuff overseas, but States we didn't really do a lot, so we did our first kind of full coast-to-coast U.S. tour last summer with Shinedown and Godsmack on the Uproar tour. And then we wanted to do another kind of coast-to-coast United States tour. Then when the Saxon thing came up, it was perfect for us. So once this ends, we're going back to Australia in December. And then after that, it's time to start working on the new record. We've already kind of started working on the new record. We have the kind of the due date and the release date, which would be next summer. And then we're back doing it all over again. So
very cool.
I mean, that's the idea. Like you mentioned, Sin and Bones was very successful for us, and when you get a chance to kind of put your foot in the door, you want to kick that freaking thing open. So that's what we're going to do. You just got to keep at it and keep the ball rolling. We've got a lot of momentum, a lot of buzz, a lot of new fans who want to keep increasing that.
Awesome. Well, on Sin and Bones, the track Sandpaper features none other than M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold. What was it like working with that guy? Did you learn a few things?
Well, Matt and I have been friends for a few years now, and he was a big fan of our band. Obviously, we're a huge fan of Avenged Sevenfold, and he's a really smart guy. He's really knows a lot musically as far as the different sounds and as far as arranging and things like that. So when we were doing Sandpaper, there was the one part that Matt ended up singing that when I was in the studio doing, I didn't really feel it, and I kind of thought it might be kind of cool to do, like have another voice on here. Let me call Matt and see what he thinks, and he listened to the track, he sang exactly what I asked him to, and then he said, listen, I got this other version, I added some more stuff, and if you like it, use it, if you don't. And actually his version had kind of really streamlined the track, took out one of the little instrumental parts, added a double chorus, etc., and it really made it a better song. So it was really cool to have him evolve from a professional level, from a friendship level, and it was one of our biggest songs we've ever had. It was top 10 at Octane for like 12 weeks,
That's
etc.,
awesome.
etc. So really owe him a huge word of thanks for sure.
What do you think of Hail to the King?
I love it. I love it. And it's funny because he was telling me like last year, we want to write this new record, we want it to be real groove, kind of take away a lot of, kind of strip down some of the parts that we've done to make it more simple. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a great record. And as soon as I heard that intention, I was like, well, there's such a big band. I was like, dude, you guys have a chance to really kind of redefine what heavy metal is in 2013, the same way that Metallica did it in '91.
Yeah.
And I know that the Black Album was one of their inspirations for Hail to the King. They've kind of really achieved that. So.
I'm also a big Machine Head fan. Did you see Rob Flynn's review
I
of
did.
that album?
I did see that. I think it's Rob just being Rob, but to me, it's like if Rob spent as much time on his blog, if Rob spent as much time writing songs as he did on his blog, maybe he would be number one too.
There you go.
The way I look at it is, it's great for Avenged Sevenfold, or Machine Head, or FOZZY, or Black Label Society, or anybody that's a heavy metal band to go to number one. That's just good for rock and roll. It's good for metal in general, no matter what the band is. So my response is, Avenged could be playing an album of kazoo polka songs as long as it goes number one and is heavy. That's good for all of us, right?
Very cool. Now you have one of the coolest jobs on the face of the planet, getting to host the Revolver Golden God Awards, which is the award show for hard rock and heavy metal. Mm-hmm. You're basically the Billy Crystal of heavy metal. How'd you get that gig?
It's funny. I guess a couple years ago, I was just writing about that. I'm writing my third book, and I was just talking about this exact subject today when I was writing. But what happened was they called me and asked me to be a presenter for one of the awards. And typical Jericho, I'm never happy with anything. I was like,
bare minimum.
Yeah, I'd rather host the thing.
Right.
How does that sound? We'd love it. So I co-hosted with Andrew WK the first year, and then got the gig just on my own after that. And it just kind of been. I kind of almost consider it to be as much of my show as it is Revolver's, because I've kind of seen it grow and watched it develop over the years. I'm like a proud father. And last year we had Metallica playing it doesn't get much bigger than that. So it just continuously grows year after year, which is really cool for, once again, cool for heavy metal and cool for all of us that love it and that are fans of it.
What were some of your favorite moments besides Metallica? I loved the Dillinger Escape Plans performance. They tore it up. It looked like they scared everyone there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they did a great job. The thing is, though, like for me, when I'm hosting, I got so much stuff going on as far as, you're kind of in charge of the ebb and flow of the show, and you have to, if something is going right, you have to change. I'm working, so I don't really get a chance to see any of the bands until the last band of the night. I remember last year was Avenged. I watched them from side stage. This year was Metallica. I watched them from side stage.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think my favorite story, once again, I wrote about it this morning, is we were doing it and doing the show. And this is during the show. We're live and it's rolling. And I get a text message that Joe Perry is going to be coming to the show and wants to be on it.
Now this is year before last, right?
Yes, and this is during, we're running.
Yeah.
And it's like, Joe Perry's coming, he wants to be on the show. And it's like, all right, where is he? Well, he's not here yet. Well, when is he going to get here? We're not sure. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So I had this idea where earlier in the night I was kind of like the butt of the joke. It was the theme of that year's show. So I had Zach come out earlier and just kept cutting me off by calling me a douche. Like, hey, Zach, you're a douche. Whatever, douche. So people like that and whatever. Jericho's the douche. So I go downstairs in the parking garage and Joe Perry pulls up in his limo, gets out, never met him before ever. And everyone's being all nice. And meanwhile, I've got like 5 minutes. Like Deftones were playing and there's a 20-minute set. And I've got like 5 minutes left before I got to be back on stage.
Okay.
Oh, then the joke. Chris Jericho, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to go on stage. I'm going to talk about how great I am. You come up from behind me, call me a douche. Can you do that? I think I can call you a douche. Great, thanks. Not exactly the best first meeting for a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, but I had a job to do. So I go on stage, I start saying, I'm the greatest, and I've hosted this show, and people start cheering. Here comes Joe Perry. Walks up to the mic, pulls out a joint, lights it, and instead of calling me a douche, goes, save the Aborigines. Beware of the plight of the Aborigines. Go to worldpeace.org.com to find out more and how you can help.
And this is live.
Live. Oh, and by the way, you're a fucking douche. And then walks up the stage. And I haven't seen him or talked to him since. So that was it. It was just kind of like another day in the life of the host of the Golden Gods.
It's Joe Perry. What can you do? Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's great. But save the Aborigines. Apparently he's big into their
That's
cause.
what he's passionate about. So I know you're a big heavy metal aficionado. What got you into heavy metal? Into heavy music?
Girls.
Yeah.
Because I was a big Beatles fan. By the time I was about 8, and not just big, I was obsessed. I knew everything about the Beatles and read all the books, had all the records. And then when I went into junior high school, it was kind of the early 80s, and nobody really thought it was cool to listen to the Beatles at the time. As weird as it sounds, in the 80s, it was kind of not the thing. Beatles, Stones were kind of old. And then I noticed that all these girls were wearing the shirts that were styled at the time were 3/4 inch baseball shirts, they would call them. So like a gray shirt with black sleeves.
Right.
There was Judas Priest and Ozzy and Dio. And I was like, if I'm ever going to get a date with any of these girls, I think I'm a nerd for listening to the Beatles, I better go check out some of this heavy metal stuff. So I went to the comic book store they used to hang out at, and they had Blizzard of Oz on sale for, not sale, it was like $2 used on cassette. And I bought it and picked it up and put it on, and it just, obviously blew my mind. But the funny thing was, when Goodbye to Romance came on, it's the third song on the record, I was like, this is a Beatles song. Like, I started realizing the Beatles pretty much influenced everybody, even Ozzy / Black Sabbath. So that was how it all started, through Blizzard of Oz and Ozzy, because I wanted to try and get a date. I didn't get a date, but at least I had some cool new music to listen to.
Absolutely. The whole reason I started this blog is my love for heavy music. One of my favorite all-time shows is That Metal Show. You've been on it a couple times. Mm-hmm. Any plans on going back this next 13th season, I think?
Well, I mean, there's always a plan. It's just a matter of getting invited. I know they want to try and switch up the guests. And the funny thing is the concept of that show started with me and Eddie and Mike Portnoy doing Eddie's Friday night show in New York City, where we wanted to make it like a view for guys. We would call it the Metal Summit, a.k.a. the meeting of the mindless. And all we would do is just go on air and just talk metal trivia and just shoot the breeze and take calls about metal. And then one day Trunk calls me, he's like, yeah, I got that metal show on TV. And I was like, oh, congratulations. But it's me and Don Jameson and Jim Florentine. I was like, what about me in Portland? He goes, well, you don't live in New York. And I'm like, so what? Yeah. You record 1 week every 6 months. But anyways, God bless him. I'm glad that the show is so popular. And once again, it's just great for heavy metal.
Yeah. And a lot of musicians watch that show. You watch it pretty religiously.
Yeah, I watched it every episode up until this season. I just haven't had a chance because Breaking Bad and Dexter have been so great. Well, Dexter was great until the last episode.
I haven't watched it yet. Don't tell
okay,
me.
I won't
Please
say a
don't
word. I
tell
won't
me.
say a word. But touring, it takes up a lot of time when I'm home. I've got kind of, and then also Sons of Anarchy and Walking Dead. So I kind of haven't watched any that metal shows. I have them all on DVR, but it's been like, oh, that metal show. No, I'll watch Breaking Bad.
Are you excited for Breaking Bad tomorrow? I'm a little nervous
Yeah,
and
well,
scared.
I won't be watching it because we have a show in Oklahoma City, but Monday is when I'm going to watch it.
Oh man, stay
And
off all social media.
I will. And the thing about it, that bugs me the most is that I want to watch it, but it's the last episode, which is kind of a drag.
It's kind of depressing.
You know, it's such a great show, but I have to know what happens. So
Yeah.
I will not be talking to anybody tomorrow until I get home on Monday for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to get lynched if I don't ask you at least one question about wrestling.
Sure.
How does your workout regimen differ, when you're wrestling and when you're with FOZZY?
It never changes. I mean, all I do now is yoga. I don't really go to the gym anymore. I just do yoga. And that's the beauty of it, is you can do it anywhere. You can do it in your dressing room. You can do it in your hotel room. I can do it outside the bus. I can do it anywhere. So it's kind of, I switched over to doing that about 2 years ago, and it's been great for me. So
Now you do it every day?
I don't do it every day. I had a really bad back issue, so I was doing it every day. And now I try and do it 3 or 4 times a week, but I'm also writing another book. And when you're on the road, you only have a certain amount of free time a day. So I've been devoting that time to writing books. So I haven't done yoga in a few weeks. But our show is a workout as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference too. In a wrestling match, there's an ebb and flow. You can work for 30 minutes, and sometimes you're moving, then you take a break, moving, take a break. With our show, from the first song to the last song, all 45 minutes, it's movement, it's power, and so that's a pretty crazy workout too.
Cool. So what's the bigger rush? Being on stage with FOZZY or wrestling? Could you pick one?
No, because they're both a rush, because both passions of mine. When I was a kid, I wanted to be in a band and I wanted to be a wrestler, and those are the two things that I kind of focused my life on. And I mean, now my career is basically built around FOZZY. I mean, I don't wrestle as much anymore, and when I do, it's only when we're off the road with FOZZY or whatever like that. So, the more kind of victories that we get with FOZZY, the more shows we play, the bigger shows that we play, the more prestige, the more fans, the more buzz that we get. That's a bigger rush right now, because it reminds me of when I started wrestling, 20 years ago. And about 8 or 9 years in, you can start to feel the wave building. And I kind of feel that with FOZZY right now again. It's kind of lightning kind of struck twice for us.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about, I always end with a tattoo question. I'm really into tattoos, so if you could tell me about one of your tattoos, or I know you recently got some stuff on your forearm, right?
The first one is this F, which is the FOZZY F, and that's kind of a derivative from Hetfield has the Metallica M. So I just thought that was cool, and the cool thing is that there's been tons and tons, probably even 100 at this point, of fans I've seen that have the FOZZY F, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
This one's kind of a different version of the Sin and Bones cover. It was the first real tattoo that I had, if you don't count this one. And I found this artist online in Atlanta. He did such a great job. I got this pumpkin. It's a Halloween, the German power metal band, with Shadows in LA on the Sunset Strip. I got one, he got one, kind of a bro tattoo. But he has a million tattoos, so his pumpkin kind of just fit in, and mine was like this weird distended pumpkin in the middle of my arm for no reason.
Oh, that was before you got the rest?
Yeah, so I got the rest filled up. But my 4 favorite bands: Halloween, Maiden, Metallica, this is Justice Lady, and then this is the Beatles walking across Abbey Road. So there's Ringo and John and George and Paul. So, and they're on fire because they're the Trailblazers. So that's what I got so far.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Go check out FOZZY, pick up Sin and Bones. And again, you're watching The Live Addiction with Steve-O on thebuzz.com.
Steve-O! The other Steve-O. The better Steve-O.
There you go. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. My pleasure.